I got my admins here. What's up, Kathy? I miss Kathy. Kathy Bell. All right, let's see. Okay. You would think that maybe social media would take a giant hit in 2020 just because what's the point of social media if you can't get out there and brag about all the cool things you're going out and doing and your Disneyland trips and your trips to Europe and all that stuff, your fancy restaurant meals. I wonder if like Instagram and Facebook have been seeing a decline, and I know I hardly even look at Instagram anymore. It's just and then when I do, I don't even look at every like post. I hunt out my kids. That's all I really care about. And they don't even post anymore. They just do stories, so it's real easy. I just scroll through the stories looking for the kids, and then like boom, there they are. And you can mute on Instagram. So if there's somebody that you're following that posts too much, you can mute them. You can mute their stories, you can mute their post, or you can mute both. And I've done that with a few people, just because, man, they just post too much. So, oh, great. Oh, so she's still active on Facebook. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it. I don't know if we're Facebook friends or not, but, you know, that's another thing. I'm not on Facebook very often. For a while at first when the COVID thing happened, I was kind of on Facebook just because people were reporting things like, oh, my aunt has Facebook, COVID. My aunt has Facebook. That's newsworthy. But yeah, so, you know, a lot of the times I was, you know, kind of trying to keep up on people. But now it's just funny because I think I told you about I had to take the weekend off from church because apparently Alex and I were exposed to somebody with COVID. So, you know, highly contagious. And and so I had to find at least one guitar player for Alex and I. And I swear, everyone I called was like, yeah, I just got exposed. I have to quarantine for 14 days. It's like, oh my gosh, just the quarantining is going to, you know, of people that have gotten exposed to something. Because in LA, everyone has it. So I think 1 in 20 people are currently walking around with COVID right now in Los Angeles is what they're thinking. So, and I have yet to be tested. I think I had it back in the day, but you know, a doctor friend of mine that told me to take the 4,000 IUs of vitamin D every day. He said he knows of a couple people that have had it twice. He thinks. So I don't know. We'll see. The initial reports of people getting it a second time, they were like, I thought I had it and then I got it again. So they didn't really have a test for the first time. So. Happy New Year. Yep. So who do we have here? We got the faithful. The faithful are here. It's actually a pretty good turnout. I wasn't expecting too many people. Dennis, thank you, Bruce, for being here. You saw Gary's message about on Discord that he's going to be occupado in January, training someone new. So understand he can't be watching us when. Oh, there, Gary's right there. You know, Alex is up in the mountains. Yeah, Alex and I think we already had it. We do think, but you know, can you get it again? Very likely. Alex actually lost his sense of taste and smell, but this was way back in February, March. He flew up to Washington State to do a gig, And that was kind of the original epicenter in the U.S. And he came back and he ended up with the worst cough he ever had, and like 103 fever, and that was with medicine. And they gave him an inhaler, which they'd never done before, and the doctor gave him antibiotics. They didn't know what it was, and then 3 or 4 days in, he's starting to feel a little bit better. Beth went up there to give him, make sure he had plenty of chicken soup or whatever, and and then he came down here. We were hanging out and swapping guitars and stuff. And then about a week later, I felt like, well, I had lower intestinal issues for like a week. I don't need to say more. And a low-grade fever like 99. For me, 99 is pretty high because normally my fever is like 96.8, 97.2. I have usually a pretty low. If I hit 98.6, which is like normal, and they're saying the new normal now is lower, which is interesting, that the body temperature of humans has actually gone down around the world, but which is contrary to the whole global warming thing. You would think our body temperatures would be getting higher if the world was getting warmer. So maybe it's a compensation thing. Anyway, I had a low-grade fever for the whole week. I thought I had anemia again, and I was taking my iron pills, but I thought, maybe I've got anemia again, and because that's what it felt like. I just couldn't get out. It was so hard to get out of bed. I still worked. It was but I was working from home. And yet, part of the reason I didn't get up, I got up late. Part of the reason I started late today is because I slept late, and normally I get up at like 6:37, something like that. And I woke up at 8:30 this morning. So as soon as I got up, I came over here to Discord and went, I'm going to be running a little late. And not that I showered or anything, but I think I slept hard because I was working hard all day yesterday on some really hard music, and on mostly playing bass instruments. I've got to do more work on it today. All of it is just doubling. I'm going to actually double on the baritone, which I should show you. This thing is amazing. I don't get this thing out very often. So that I'm playing a G shape, but that's a D chord. If I play E, that's a B. So it's a whole fourth below a normal guitar. And the crazy thing about this guitar is it says in there, if you can see it, you can't see it, but it says prototype. This was the Martin prototype for this guitar. And they made a few of them. They didn't make a whole lot of these. But that would be a G chord there. So if I were to play it to the jam track, now I got to think I'm in the key of C, because my brain isn't going to translate. There we go. It's like yeah, you better sip because I'm changing guitars again. Get your sips ready. Come on, people. So anyway, I got to use that for the session today. So I'm just trying to, I can kind of psych myself up for that because it was pretty hard. A lot of 5/8, like fast 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3, and then like subdivisions over that. So it was pretty complex, and I normally, one of my methods for when I'm doing session work, not that you really care, but sometimes one of the things you can do if you're doing something really difficult and you've got to play that section on different instruments, then what I'll do is I'll do that section and then pick up another instrument, do it again while it's fresh in my head, especially if it's a lot of doubling where I'm playing the exact same thing on different instruments. That way, everything is pretty fresh. So I was doing that all day yesterday with the bass and the baritone. So it's a very low, all the guitar parts are really, really low. in this game, and it's kind of becomes a featured instrument at a couple points in the game. And so we, me and Austin, the composer, we zoomed yesterday and kind of came up with a sound palette for that thing. So it was a kind of a combination of fuzz bass, distorted baritone through an octave pedal, and an acoustic baritone direct and mic'd. So I haven't done any of the acoustic stuff yet. I'm going to do that today. So, and Gary, your voice is beautiful, by the way. I really like the song. I listened to it this morning, so I left a little note there. You saying, as a baritone singer, though, I think it might get muddy. Exactly. No, I think, yeah, the baritone, yeah, it just doesn't. I got it because I was watching Coen Brothers' No Country for Old Men, and one of the things that makes that movie so unsettling, and you probably did not notice this, is there's no score. There's no music in that. I mean, there might be some what's called source music, like in the coffee shop, when what's his name, Tom, what's his name, Tom, the actor, the sheriff guy, when he's in the coffee shop. I should watch it again, but it's a kind of a disturbing movie. I just don't want to be disturbed. Don't bug me. Don't disturb me. I got to the end of that movie, and then there was this guitar. It was like low, and I go, "Oh my gosh, that sounds like a baritone guitar." And it might have been DADGAD, or it might have been Open D, or it might have been a baritone or C tuning. I don't know, but I was just like, okay, I gotta get myself a baritone guitar because I could use that in movie scores. And I probably could, I probably should do some. I could do some solo things on it for like one of my TV libraries that I write for, because they might actually use it. Be kind of cool. Oh, no worries, Paul. Lurk away. Lurk away. Yeah, just have me in the background. I wish I had you around. You could help me. I don't have a basement though. But so what happened was I went to the NAMM show, and my goal for the show was to see who's making a baritone. Oh, I got okay. Remind me to tell you my Bob Taylor story. Okay. Bob Taylor from Taylor Guitars, okay? Yeah, tell you Bob Taylor's story. So, I don't know, Holly, Bruce, somebody. But anyway, I went all over the NAMM show trying to find it, and I think Alvarez had a baritone, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I went to Martin, and I just said, hey, I went to the desk at the Martin booth, which is usually right in the middle of the NAMM show, which is funny because you would think they would want like some private built, booth, but they usually were right in the middle of the chaos. And they would always have a big wall around them. It was a big booth. It was about as big a booth as you could have on the floor. And they had a giant wall around, and they'd have all these guitars hanging. Sometimes they would have like some of those one-off guitars that are going for like $250,000. They would have some really cool stuff in there. And I asked somebody, I said, hey, you don't make a baritone guitar, do you? Baritone acoustic? And the guy goes, no, but, and he told me, like, I forget the guy's name now, Glenn or something. He said, but Glenn is it's his project, his baby. He wants to do one. And he's here. He would love to talk to you about it. I said, yeah, I would love to talk to him. So I go over there and I talk to him, and he's like, really wants to know why I want a baritone. And I told him, I said, look, I do film scores, and I think it would be really cool. It's a beautiful sound. And I would love to, I've never even played one. So I didn't even, know what they would sound like in my hands. And he goes, well, let's stay in touch. So sometimes I'm really bad at this. Sometimes I follow up NAMM with a bunch of emails, like, so nice to meet you, because it's for gear. I don't really do, now that I have so many followers or subscribers on YouTube, I probably could get a lot more free stuff if I wanted to. I get emails every now and then, people saying they want to send me something to review on YouTube, but I don't really do a lot of reviews. It's always gear that I bought, so that I don't want to be that guy necessarily. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it. My friend JR, RJ. He gets so much stuff sent to him, and he does great reviews. I mean, he really is, and he's very meticulous, and he's on point, and he's a real pro, so he shows how he would use them. So he does great reviews. He deserves all the free stuff he gets. But I wouldn't deserve it. They would send it to me, and I probably never do a review. I don't know. I kind of like having my own agenda, if you know what I mean. But anyway, this guy, the Martin guy, and I stayed in touch, and he said, "Hey, can I send you the prototype?" And keep in mind, they're in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, and I'm in Los Angeles, and I said, "Yeah, sure." So they sent me the prototype, and then basically I gave them, I played it, and tried to come up with some notes that I could give them. It really wasn't much. They put a really nice pickup in that has a blender, has a microphone, and a pickup under the saddle, so it sounded great plugged in. I was like, "Oh my goodness, this thing's a beast." And it sounded huge. The only issue I had with it was I thought that they strung it up too light. So when you played a C shape, which would have been a G chord on a baritone, that second string is too light, and it's so loose that you bend it sharp. So it ended up being kind of, if you weren't careful, you were going to bend things out of tune. So, Dennis, I do gear reviews. I have some, and they're some of my most popular videos. If you go to my YouTube channel, let's see, I can do that right here. My channel. Oh, dang it, I didn't want to do that.
You want to know why running on a treadmill?
I don't want to know why running on treadmills doesn't work. Okay. Let's see if I can open this on new. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so if I go to my videos, hey, I'm live. Sort by most popular. Okay, so funny. The jam and the bluegrass track in 100 beats per minute. Okay, the highest. So the number 12th video for me, 6 years old, 72,000 views, is the Squire bass, the bass 6. This thing right here, the white one that I got here. And then just 2 more down is the Jerry Jones electric sitar, which nobody does. Those are rare. They don't make them anymore. So, and then it's interesting to look at this. The Schwarmendal Tempura thing that I showed you last. I didn't pull it out, but the Spider Capo. Let's see, high strung acoustic, but that was cheap guitars. And then I was doing a lot of reviews of guitar pedals, my neighbor's guitar pedals. I did the Vox Pathfinder amp, which they still made, but somebody said they stopped making that because they were by far outselling the more expensive models because they sounded so good. What? Yeah, it's amazing the videos that kind of did well and ones that didn't do so well. A GS Mini is a high strung. That's only got 4,500 views. So yeah, it's weird. So I have done some gear reviews, but it's almost always of stuff I use. And I think there was something I was going to do. What was? Something. Well, I've got some more stuff coming, so who knows? I did order a Greek bouzouki, by the way. I've got that coming. I had to try to order some stuff before the end of the year just for the tax benefits. Because, man, I'm gonna get. I mean, it's good problem to have. First world problems, but gee, I could review Starbucks drinks. Yeah, the thing is, I pretty much just like coffee. And I would probably get lambasted because I don't know the lingo But anyway, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you had a good time. I did have a little glass of bourbon last night, so I didn't wake up hungover, but boy, I slept well. I mean, I slept good. So I'm like, my mom was onto something. She always drank bourbon. I always thought it was such a man thing to do. My mom always drank bourbon. I was like, what? She used to drink like white wine or something. My parents both drank a lot, which is part of the reason why I didn't drink. I mean, they started drinking when they were 15. They were kids. My mom actually got arrested for, I guess, serving a minor. She was working at a restaurant when she was at going to Michigan State, and she served a minor, and she got arrested. And then they found out her dad was a congressman, and they unarrested her. Talk about elitism. It's like, So yeah, my grandpa was a congressman for like 16 years. My mom basically grew up in Washington, D.C. Went to Woodrow Wilson High School. And then but when she went to Michigan State, she was living, obviously, in not Ann Arbor is Michigan. Michigan State's Lansing, is that right? And that's where my parents met. And of course, they were both in fraternities, or fraternity or sorority. And man, so they just got, that was just a thing, man. Drinking, like, social drinking was a thing. Oh, really? Drunk? Well, I wasn't drunk. I literally had, in fact, I just ordered on Amazon one of those, because I thought I could use it as a slide too, but one of those 1 ounce, 2 ounce triangle shaped things. And they, I probably put a half an ounce of bourbon on the ice and let the ice melt like crazy. So, but I feel really actually pretty good. So whatever it did, it took a little edge off and helped me sleep. Since I don't have to get up early tomorrow, I may do it again tonight. We'll see. But yeah, I've never been drunk, so I wouldn't know that. Let's see. So, Gelukkig Nieuwjaar. Is that Happy New Year in Dutch? Oh, I don't know what that. But I wouldn't be opposed to doing gear reviews if it was something I really believed in. If Taylor sent me something and they wanted me to do a review of it, I would. Elixir, I've done Elixir string reviews and stuff like that. I've been on their website, I've done videos for them. In fact, that video has pretty good views that I did with Elixir. All right, so what I wanted to do with you is get your guitar in your hand. I'm going to just strum like a G chord. And let's play the G major scale and the G Mixolydian scale together again. Okay, we'll start on the bottom. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. We're doing whole notes or half notes. Okay, so we'll do it that tempo. And we'll play up the G major scale. Hopefully you have it memorized to some degree, or you can watch the thing, so I don't have to talk so much. And that way I'll just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, A, B, C, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2. Backwards. F, open E. 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Yeah, anything's better, Mark. Yeah. Although, 2021 could be 2020, but one more. Like Nigel Tufnell. Oh, but these go to 11. It's like, that's one more, isn't it? Yeah, but could you just make 10 be 11 and then 10 would be loudest? Because, yeah, but these go to 11. Oh, not a lot of not getting it. That could happen in 2011. 2011 could be worse. Okay, now let's play the G Mixolydian Scale. So the new scale for the week is the Mixolydian Scale. So let's play that one, and then I'll explain what I'm going to do in a second here. And it's no big thing, but it's what you kind of work in these two scales. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, A, 4, B, 2, E, C, 4, D, E, F natural, sorry, G, I forgot what I was doing, B, C, getting it backwards, open, and third, and then back to G. All right. Happy New Year, Pepper! Jeff, good to see you. Jan, Mark, good to see you. Mark, you're not new. I've seen you before, I think. How are we doing? What's the view count here? 38. That's pretty darn good. The peak was, shoot, we got up to 39 right now it says, but one of my counters says 30 and the other one says 40, so I don't know which one to believe here. But anyway, that's really, really good. Happy New Year. Good to see you. It's really windy here in Los Angeles right now. I think Beth was sitting out there, but it just got too windy for her. And then Monday we're gonna do. I did say something about maybe doing G Dorian is a good scale too. But I think we'll do the minor pence or maybe G minor pen. Yeah, so I'm not sure what we're gonna probably all three minor pents: the G minor pentatonic, C minor pentatonic, and D minor pentatonic. C minor pentatonics can be. And I might. It does have a fun kind of rock and roll vibe to it in the bluegrass context, so I hear it a lot in bluegrass. Still on my back. Oh, dang. I think I knew that. Hey, Margaret, good to see you. Happy New Year to you, too. Yeah, I've still not said hi to everyone, I don't think. Gosh, there's a lot of people here. And there's a lot of lurkers because it says 44 people on right now. And oh, Greg, Lutz, good. Happy New Year. Everybody's, Dan, Happy New Year to you. Well, everybody's on. We're all like hanging out together. That's awesome. Okay, so what I'm thinking of doing, I'm just going to play like a G chord, and I'm going to say G major, and then I'm going to say G Mixolydian. So I want you just to kind of noodle. Noodling could just be going up and down the scale until I say G Mixolydian, and then you make that change. And all you're doing, the only difference between, and you can see it up here I can't point. I'm lousy. I'd be a horrible weatherman. So you can see it up here. The only difference between G major and G Mixolydian is that G major has an F sharp and G Mixolydian has an F natural. So, they, oh, thank you, Dennis. This is Discord. Oh, and then the jam track too. And now we're not going to jam track. I'm just going to play one chord. Then I may change chords and go to the C chord, and then you keep doing the same thing, okay? And what that will do is, and here's that. And then I can pin this. This is the jam. Okay. So the jam I was playing to at the beginning of the video, that's what that is. And it's like 10 minutes of that progression you see right here. You'd think I would figure this out. You know, part of the problem is when I was if you watch the earlier videos, like the very early ones, I was just using I was just using YouTube's streaming thing, not OBS. So I was backwards. So I was looking at an image, and I could point easy that way for some reason. But now that it's reversing the image coming back to me, which means I'm seeing myself playing right-handed, not left-handed, which is great. Hey, Addie, what's going on? Good to see you again. Oh, no, it's all right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just strum a G chord, and you are going to solo. And it can just be, you can just practice the scales. That's totally fine. If you want to do like a section of the scales, maybe the top 3 or 4 strings, and you don't need to do the bottom strings necessarily, because those aren't going to work your way into solos as often. Playing down low is cool, but it's just not, it's not going to cut through when you've got another guitar player, maybe a bass player, you know, if there's a mandolin player, a banjo player, whatever, or, you know, electric guitar player, it's not going to cut through as much as if you play up in the higher. If you want to, you could do like every other note, which I should do a video on patterns, scale patterns. That wouldn't be a bad one, huh? Like, you know, the groups of 4 ascending. I have, you know, I used to do a bunch of them. I'm trying to remember. 3 descending. What are those chords? Those aren't chords. Those are scales. So basically, if it's the first time looking at the scale diagrams over here, okay, that red note on the bottom is a G, and then you hit open A. It's like some strings have 2 notes, most strings have 3 notes. So those are basically individual notes you're seeing there. Those aren't chords. Okay. All right. So I'm going to strum. Just a G chord for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say play G major, and I'm going to wait a little while, and then I'm going to have you play G Mixolydian, okay? So what I want you to do is just, as soon as I say Mixolydian, you switch to Mixolydian no matter where you are, and see if you can make that F sharp to F natural change. See if you can do that, okay? So play in G major starting now. Major. Just keep noodling around in G major. Okay. Now G Mixolydian. Mixolydian still. Okay. G major. G major. Okay, G Mixolydian. G major. Trying to throw you off. So you're on G major now. Ready? Stay on G major. I'm going to C chord, but you stay on G major. G Mixolydian. So you're on Mixolydian now. To G major. G Mixolydian. Okay, go to G major now. so listen to this. So what you're really playing over my D chord, it kind of has a D Mixolydian sound over it. When you play G major over D, it sounds Mixolydian. Now play G Mixolydian, and it's gonna conflict. You're gonna have an F natural, right? It's gonna sound a little swampy. Okay, now back to G major. G Mixolydian. Stay on G Mixolydian. Oh, I didn't see Jeff's. Oh, there it is. G major. G Mixolydian. G major. That F sharp sounds very Lydian, very mysterious over the C chord, doesn't it? So the reason I was doing that was because I want you to get used to going back and forth between G major and G Mixolydian. The idea here is, and Jeff, I'm going to hit your question here in a second. Maybe I'll hit it peripherally, but the idea is that we don't want to use one scale when we're soloing over any progression, but even the bluegrass progression. We can use the G major scale, we could use G major pentatonic, we could use G major blues. We could get away with one scale, but we want to have lots of tools. And so I wanted to get you to get used to going back and forth between just two of those tools. I could do this with 3 or 4 or 5 scales. I could say, okay, now play G Mixolydian or G blue, major blues, or play G pentatonic, major pentatonic, or play G. And we could do all of those, and the lesson would be it would be one of those things where I would almost want you to have them all printed out and like, okay, now go to this scale. Okay, now go to this scale. Have them in front of you. But that way you can hear. So you start to hear the subtle nuances between those, and also or the not so subtle nuances. And then you just also get used to not really thinking about so much. And this kind of touches on John's question. And by the way, John, I don't know that you sent me a Starbucks card, and I already used it all up, of course. But thank you. The Starbucks was brought to you by John Y. In Louisville. John, because I see John, right? Or no, John's not here. Oh, I thought I saw John. I haven't seen him since he sent me the Starbucks card. I hope he's okay. But it's Jeff. You sent me the question. Let's see. Okay. So Jeff Height says, when you think about scales, how much is shapes and how much is notes? In this case, perfect example. It's probably equal measures both. And Jeff, the goal is to get to the point where you're not thinking of anything. All you're thinking of is melodies in your head that you're immediately, like good melodies in your head that you're immediately translating to the guitar. Now, that's not, even the best guitar players in the world don't necessarily do that. They still kind of depend on their little riffs and licks. If you see like a bluegrass player, for example, if you see a bluegrass player kind of go into a kind of a flashy lick or something like that, chances are he's played that 1,000 times. He didn't just create that in his head, right? a lot of times that may be for the soloing in, if you're in solo mode, that may be a reset. So like, okay, I'm doing this. Okay, now I'm getting ready to set up and I've got a new melody here. Okay, here it comes. Now I'm going to create a new melody. Now, a lot of guys will do very, very similar solos over the same songs if they're playing the same songs every night. If they're going 200 shows in a year, yeah, it would be very difficult not to quote yourself 1,000 times in a year's time. So, hey, chat, good to see you. And good to see you too. Happy New Year's to everyone. Yes. Big turnout today. I'm really shocked, to be honest. And to kind of talk about, now we did, if you go to the Discord, you know what, I can pin that. So the pinned link right now is the jam track, but let me see if I can I pin Dennis's? Replace pin, yeah. Okay, so now I just pinned the invite link to the Discord site, and if you can try to use your same username, you can have different usernames on different. My understanding is you can have different usernames on all your all the Discord forums, so you don't necessarily have to use the same username on all the Discord forums. So you can have one if you've already got a Discord and it's not the same username as your YouTube one. You can create one, I think, that's similar, if not identical, to your YouTube one. This makes it easier to be able to do the transition where we know who we're talking to, particularly everyone else here that's participating. I'm not on the Discord very often, but I do upload everything. All of these diagrams are up there. Okay. I drop those all up there. Hey Sham, good to see you. I post all those things up there, but I also post it. Every week I've been writing a new song that's I'm trying to keep it simple. I'm sorry, but I did put it in tab as well as music. And if you can read music, that's great. If you're trying to learn to read music, this is a great way to do these. I'm trying to also this. So this is called flipping off your parents. And the reason I called it that was because I was saying, playing over the basic chord progression we have here, the G, C, G, D. Playing G major is like, I don't know, like bringing breakfast to your parents in bed, bringing breakfast in bed. And then playing G Mixolydian is kind of like flipping off your parents. It's like this, it's a little bit more rebellious sounding. And again, that's one of the cool things about scales and the different notes. They have different relationships. So let's look at this for a second. Okay, so over the G, that F sharp, which is the difference between G major and G Mixolydian. See, there's an F sharp in G major, and there's an F natural in G Mixolydian. That F sharp really is not a great note to play, although I use it in passing, like if you're going from E to G, or you're going from D to G, or this Adam's Family. But to sit on that G major 7 that F sharp is to create a G major 7th chord, which is like the opposite of bluegrass. Okay, but when we play the F natural, that is a dominant 7th chord, and if I make G7 if I make G a 7th chord, which is not in the key of G, but it still is a great sounding chord in bluegrass context, that one works, and that leads really strong to C. So when you go to, it really does set up that G to C thing. It makes it more of a 5 to 1. Even though this is the 1 and this is the 4, G to C could be 5-1 if you were in the key of C. Okay, I don't want you to get too bummed. There's not going to be a quiz on this, so everybody take a sip. You can buy shirts and mugs and things like that with this on it, so if you want to buy this, I can pin this as well, but there won't be a quiz on all that theory stuff, okay? If you understand it, great. If you don't understand it, just keep listening. I'll say it enough times that eventually it start making sense. It makes more sense when you actually start to apply it and start playing it. And you go, oh, wait a minute, that F does sound much better than the F sharp. So, G Mixolydian is almost a better scale to play over this very, very common, hey, I did it right, the common bluegrass progression, okay? And the charts are PDFs. Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, the charts are in up there under it used to, they changed the name of it. It's called Tom's PDFs and Tom PDF lessons and JPEGs. They're actually pings. I just do screenshots. I don't convert them to JPEGs because I'm lazy. I should probably do that before I post them, but pings are fine, right? Everybody can read pings, and then you can convert them yourself if you want to. So that F natural sounds almost better over the G chord, okay? But and to be able to go back and forth, like right there, I just went back and forth. You hear that? It just sounds like it's very bluegrassy for one thing, and it just has a fun Irishy kind of vibe to it, right? And it almost implies a chord change that didn't happen. So it's really fun. So going back and forth is fine, but also G Mixolydian by itself is fine. So that F is the dominant seventh or the minor seventh in relation to the G chord. Okay, over the C chord, when you play G major scale, okay, when you play this top scale, right? When you play that top scale right there, that has the F sharp, it's like a movie score. Seamus, good to see you again. But when you play that G major scale over the C, it's really, if you start a C major or G major scale, if you play that top scale and you start on C and play to C, that's a C Lydian scale. And Lydian has got this very mysterious sound, very movie soundtrack. I always think of Stairway to Heaven. When he goes to that chord, it's like, whoa, what chord is that? Right? And so that has a really kind of exotic sound. But not very bluegrassy. So again, that F natural sounds better. It makes the C chord become a C sus chord. All right. So you got right. So you get this. It just sounds really cool over the C. One thing you can try to do too, I really recommend this, is to play the chord and try to play some of the scale. You don't have to play all the scale. Just in this case, G Mixolydian is easier because the F sharp is out here. It's hard to get to that. You go to the C chord and then start just kind of noodling with the pick on the C chord. Sorry, I should sit back a little bit, huh? Get more light on me. Now I'm smaller. Tom got small. I'm losing weight. I wish it were that easy. It's all camera magic, mirrors and smoke and all that. But you can start. Just kind of treat the chord as your anchor and just kind of keep going back to it. And the great thing about G Mixolydian is you don't have to use your pinky, right, Holly? Unless you want to do that. Okay, so the F sharp over the C is the sharp 11 or the sharp 4. It has a mysterious, movie score sound. The F natural is a sus thing, and it creates kind of a wanting. What's the word I'm looking for? Kind of it's not mysterious. It's more like unfulfilled. Like. Yeah, that. Yes, AJ, exactly. In fact, you really do not want to be maybe having coffee with your spouse with this mug and having an important conversation. because you know, it's something like later it's like, I told you to tell me when the check oil light came on. You know, $4,000 car repair later. And your spouse is like, but you said there wasn't going to be a quiz on this. So, you know, I mean, think of the scenarios. Okay. Now, when we get to the D chord in the chord progression, which is right here, boom. I had second thoughts, but I did it anyway. Okay, there we go. So the D chord in that progression, it's the 5 chord in the key of G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, D. It has an F sharp in it. So the G major scale works great. And in fact, if you played a G major scale, I said this earlier, if you played a G major scale from D to D, that would be a D Mixolydian scale, okay? A D major scale would sound like this. That would have a C sharp. And that would really get in the way of that C chord. So you really, that C sharp, although we'll use it at some point. We're getting there. I touched my face so we can take a sip. Did I use air quotes earlier? Did somebody come up with a word I was trying to think of? I think they sell pinkies on Amazon. Yeah. Okay. G7. Very good. Thank you, Addie. G7 is G, B, D, F. Oops. And G major 7 is G, B, D, F sharp. Very good. And yeah, you know your music. I think we established that before. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just reading everybody's notes here. Oh, Becker, you just joined Discord. Good. Okay. Yeah, so you can get all the stuff up there. It comes in handy. And I know you teach, so you feel free to use anything I'm showing you with your students. I'm fine with that. If you actually end up recording these songs, then make sure I get credit for them, okay? Put me down as the writer and publishing and all that. I can send you my publishing info if you need it. My publisher will be happy. I did sign a deal last year, 2020. That was last year. It's behind us now. I did sign a publishing deal, but it's really just an administration deal with Universal Music Group. Because most of my music that I write, most of the big stuff I do is with Justin Bieber. So I figured it would just be a smoother transition. I get the money from, whatever, we'll see. And I had to sign a deal because mechanical royalties only U.S. mechanical royalties can come directly to me, but the foreign stuff have to go through a real publisher, not my fake publisher. So, but they gave me a phenomenal deal. That the lawyer that I had to hire to go through the whole deal was like, "How did you get this deal?" I said, "I don't know," but I didn't want it in advance, so that was a big part of it. I didn't need enough in advance. Oh. Okay, thank you. Oh, Cincinnati got into the, that's crazy. Cincinnati got into the Final Four, is that right? I'm not paying attention. But thank you for the update, Sam. So, over the D though, that F natural, while it creates a kind of dissonance, in fact, it creates that kind of sound against the F sharp. It sounds really good. Again, play the chord and then kind of answer the scale with the chord a little bit. And the scale I'm playing is down here. Okay, against the D chord, and so it has this F natural against the F sharp. So F sharp in the key of D is the third of the chord, totally about as inside of a note as you could play over the D chord. The F natural is what you would consider an outside note. It's a flat third, I would call it, or you could also call it, no quiz on this. Take a sip. You could call it the sharp 9. For example, this chord, that's a sharp 9 chord. I don't call it flat third chord because there's a third in it. You don't want to confuse people. So this is D, F sharp, C natural. So it's a D7 chord with a F natural on top. So you get this dissonance of the F sharp and the F natural, and that's the Hendrix chord. In E, it would be up 2 frets. And I think in Foxy Ladies, right? I think he did it, and that's a different way of playing. That's F sharp 7, sharp 9. Anyway, I think I did a video on the. I did a series of videos on fun or cool chords or something. I think I called it. Kind of party chords like the James Bond, or just fun, mysterious. Chords are fun. That was the Jimi Hendrix one. The James Brown one was just E9, so it'd be that's the E9. That would be the James Brown chord. So we may do a little taste of that at some point. But anyway, Purple Haze, exactly. Purple Haze and Foxy Lady both have sharp 9 chords in them. All right. So, but that F natural against that F sharp, kind of, again, it has that swampy feel, but it also creates this kind of this bluesy kind of thing going. Okay, so it's kind of a fun sound. It's very, very fun, and so that's where and I'm still kind of pseudo answering Jeff's question in a ancillary way, but the thing is that so I might go back and forth between F sharp. I'll use that F sharp. In fact, in the song "Flipping Off the Parents" that I wrote for this week, I do that intentionally. I do the lick that's what was it? Right? I go from G major to G Mixolydian, and the one is over the G chord, and the other one's over the C chord, because I really like the sound of that F natural over the C chord. All right, and this would translate no matter what key you're playing in. But again, one of the things I notice is kind of a little bit of a cheater thing. But when bluegrass players play in A, because sometimes A is a better key to sing over, they just do all the same. All their licks apply. The only thing is you have to really know that you're got a capo on. I'm going to go. You gotta remember that you're in A as you go up the fretboard. Not think, oh, I'm in, because you're thinking G scales, G shapes, all that kind of stuff. You got to be real careful. Oh no, yeah, like if you think you're in G, you're going to go to a G lick and you go. Letting that work because you're an A. Okay, Tony, what's going on? Happy New Year. Chet, what did you say? It says bread. You're playing the band Bread. Actually, it's funny. One of my best friends' uncle is David Gates, the lead singer of Bread. And my friend's dad, his dad was like second in command at Jet Propulsion Labs in Pasadena. So my friend grew up in Pasadena. That's where I met him. So if you're listening to Bread is actually, what is it, the best of Bread? They said that more babies were conceived to that record than any record in history of music. So, all right. So basically we just kind of we're talking about, I look at the clock, it says 11 o'clock. It's been 2 hours already? No, it's only been an hour. But we basically, I wanted to reiterate that if we look back at what we've got now, we've got some real tools. Okay, we've got I'm I'm the official tool. Come to me for tools. Tom, my brother, says hi. Oh, hey, Tom. He calls you the joyful guitar man. Oh, that's actually that's sweet. And he's 6 years old. Well, hi. What's your? Oh, Tom is your brother also. Okay. Yeah, it's funny because when I was leading worship at Shepherd back in the early 2000s, one lady came up to me and she goes, "You just remind me of John Denver." And I said, "Really?" And it's not the first time I'd heard that. And she said, "Yeah, because you smile. You love music so much, you're smiling all the time." And I was like, I didn't have the guts to tell her I was smiling because it was hiding the fear of being in front of all those people singing. But yeah, it's definitely. Oh, thank you. I try to be joyous. As soon as the camera goes off, though, I'm a grumpy old man. That's the truth. No, it's not the truth. So the first week we did. So this is week 4 on Intro to Bluegrass, right? So the first week we did G major scales. We did 2. The only one difference there is that you can finger that the B note. You see the little ghost note down here, right here. That little ghost note. That's so you can start working your way up the fretboard, which we haven't done yet. We've been asked about that, and we're going to do it, but it's just not there yet. So, okay. And then the next lesson we did the major pentatonic. So we did G major pentatonic, C major pentatonic, and D major pentatonic. And G major works on all 3 of the chords fine, C major may work a little better on C, and then D major may work. Although that D major was a bit of a handful. It's not a very fun scale to play, and I had a hard time playing it. So I will happily admit that. I don't want you guys to think that it's unattainable. Gary deleted a message. I don't know what it said. It said something, and I looked at it and was like, "What the heck is that?" It's like, "Oops, wrong thread." Gary's like, "Oh, you ever get that?" I got actually a wrong text yesterday from somebody. It was like, "Oh, sorry, wrong person." I'm like, "Okay." Hey, Angelina, good to see you. Yeah, sometimes I'll text my wife and I'll say, you are the most beautiful person in the world," and then I'll, like, about a minute later I'll text her back and say, "Oh, sorry, wrong thread." And then I can hear her laugh in the other room because we haven't been outside of each other's presence since March or whatever. No, that's not true. She's actually teaching. So then we added the blues notes, what I call blues notes. I call these major blues scales. It's a major pentatonic scale with a blues note added, which was in each one of these cases was the flat third. So if you look up here, I'm having to think too hard. Okay, if you look up here, I think that's why I slept good last night, because I was yesterday having to think so hard in my session. I'm going to have to do it again today. So I've got more session work to do for this game. I'm almost done. But it doesn't look that hard, but there's a lot of stuff that's like really fast 5/8 stuff. But it's not fast notes. It's more like dotted. Like it's just you have to feel it more than you can read it. But if we did this one, and if you look at each one of these scales here, it's the pentatonic scale with a blues note. So in the case of the G major, I added the flat third. They all have the flat third. So B flat's the flat third of G major, E flat's the flat third of C major, and F natural is the flat third of D major, and there will not be a quiz on that. But they're fun notes to play. Even in the D major, it was a little finicky, and then the song we did for that one was that this one here? Yeah. Nigo Montoya from Rancho Cucamonga. So that one, I don't know why we called it that, but it was, I just thought it was a funny name. So I hate naming instrumental songs. It's the worst. It's like, they always sound cheesy. Gary, I see. Okay, Gabriella. Okay, you misspelled. Oh yeah, Everything I Own is a great song. That's actually a really, really good song. It's cool that it's technically that song was written about my friend's grandfather. So that's kind of cool because the song is about David Gates. I think wrote that for his father who passed away, and he said, I would give everything I own just to see you once again, which is a sentiment for many of us. I mean, to have lunch with my dad again, I would be crying the whole time. I don't know if I could do it. But yeah, I would write a very large check for that, and so that's, it's a sentiment that's really powerful. And of course it became a romantic sentiment. And I think that was part of his intent, was he took this real life situation, and it's a good song can be kind of construed in multiple ways. But yeah, I used to teach a lot of bread songs. I Found a Diary was also another one that was very powerful, right? Because he's like, David was really good at coming up with those lyric twists where you think the song's about one thing and then it turns out to be about another. Like typical kind of country. In fact, he ended up, I think in Nashville, he ended up in writing country songs. I don't know if he had any success at it. And I'd be curious if his catalog is, generating revenue. I never hear his songs on the radio, but surely, one thing you can always do if you want to see how someone's doing like that is like you go to IMDb, and then if I enter David Gates, it'll show like what TV shows are using his songs, and if it's a hit, if the song is a hit, they have to pay a lot of money for those. So you can keep your career going. Yeah. So like he's got something. Make It With You was in a TV. Oh, the TV series is called Make It With You. That's weird. I've never heard that. Oh, and there's a funny story too. What was it? Oh, the local paper, like Make It With You, I think was their first hit. And the local paper, because he was from Tulsa, and he went home to Tulsa, and he was like, hey, the whole thing where the son goes to California, gets famous, and comes home, and the newspaper said, and David Gates is back in town from Los Angeles, songwriter and member of Bread, and their big #1 hit, Naked With You. It's what they wrote in the paper. They thought the song was Naked With You, not Make It With You, which kind of the same title, but it looks like, I don't know, Annabelle Come Home. Let's see. American Horror Story got a song in that. Red Oaks TV series, I don't know. Christine, Writer, Everything I Own. I don't know what Christine is. It must be a movie. Superstore, okay. Supernatural, Guitar Man, documentary, okay. So he's getting a placement every year or so. I don't know if that's enough to pay a lot of bills, but I'm sure he's doing fine because it's got quite a big catalog of songs. Now, as far as, I'm just curious, if he got other placements besides Bread. He always hit that net worth thing, but those are never right. Not that yeah, he's from Tulsa, rather. Yeah. Bread. Yeah, how long was Bread around? Well, it says years active, circa 2006. So I guess he stopped. Yeah, it's 2000 shows him with a cowboy hat on, so he's definitely kind of playing the. I think he did do some country songs himself. I don't know if he got any placements. Not a whole lot of placements. Doesn't look like. I'm not seeing anything. Oh wait, he recorded a duet. Yeah, "Wish We Were Heroes" with Melissa Manchester. Yeah, no. Oh, he's basically concentrated on operating a cattle ranch in California, so Northern California. So there you go. That sounds about right. So yeah, one thing I could do too is I could maybe play through all of these, but I did. You can find these on the Discord. These are all the songs I wrote in the last 4 weeks, then this week we've been doing the Mixolydian Scale. But I started with a major scale, and I could have done this, where I went, okay, let's put that on top, but anyway. All right, so, wow, we've got a lot of people watching. I guess everybody's got the day off. Crazy. So, am I missing something here? Oh, your hubby loves Bread. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I really liked it when I was a kid because I like the guitar playing. I have to remember the pattern for is Diary in D minor. I think? God, I don't know, and I'm sure there's major seventh chords in it. It's been a while since I played those songs, but I taught them a lot when I was first teaching. I had a lot of girl students, and they wanted to learn those, so it was you know very common. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, you had lunch with your folks today? Yep, counting blessings, definitely. Um, if you could sing any bread song, you could get a date. Yeah, exactly, Chet. 100% true. You know, it was like, in fact, it seems to me that Diary, no, I can't, Diary would not have been a theme from I played, I remember doing, what was the Dan Fogelberg's biggest hit? It was like, longer than. That one was another one I taught a million times. That was actually a theme at a kind of a lame theme for homecoming dance that I played at, or a prom that I played at. I never went to my proms or homecoming dances. I only played at 1,000 of them because I was working in high school on that kind of stuff. So, oh, you have audio on high and you're not hearing me well. I'm not getting that complaint from anybody. I can turn me up a little bit, but I can't. I don't want to go too much because if I hit anything too low, it's going to get all weird, squishy. I'm getting cold all of a sudden, which is funny. I think because I closed my vent. We put on my Joey shirt. This is it totally doesn't go with this shirt. The Reds clash, but that's okay. I'm an enigma. This is my Joey shirt from Friends. I got this shirt years ago it's 20 years ago at Abercrombie. Really good quality shirt. I mean, it's just like great. I like flannels. And we're watching Friends, and then Joey comes into the room and he's wearing this very shirt. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I even took a picture standing next to the TV. Oh, good. I'm glad the audio is fine. So I could make me sight read these, but I can play the 4 songs, and all of these are available for free at just download the PDFs at the Discord. Okay, and each one of these is for each one of the weeks. So the first week, when we were doing the G major scale, I did Uncle Jan's Reel, named for Dennis's uncle who passed away of COVID that week. And then this is called Pent Up because it's pentatonic and because we're pent up in our homes. This is Inigo Montoya from Rancho Cucamonga, just because I said something like that and it sounded funny. I said, well, that makes a good song title, and so we made it a song title. I said my friend Aldo, though, instead of Inigo Montoya, but anyway. And then Flipping Off the Parents, because the difference between G Mixolydian and G major is kind of like bringing your parents breakfast in bed versus flipping them off. So I'm going to play each one of these, try to, at the 100 tempo. I'm not going to go crazy here. All right? So I'm going to use the jam track that we've been using that you can practice to anytime you want. And if you use it, it's great because YouTube spins translates into actual money for me. You know, I think it's like a third a penny or half a penny, maybe a third of a penny per spin. So really, to get me my $1 million, you're going to have to spin it a lot. I'm just kidding. Okay, so skip ad. Here we go. I got to go to the beginning. Back to the top. Oops. Here. There we go. This is Uncle Jan's Reel. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I'm going to start again. I was reading the tab for some reason. Normally I read the music. I'll read the music. 1, 2, 3. like that one a lot. That's my favorite of all of them. So that's Uncle Jan's Reel, and that was the first week. So I should probably put on. Okay, so that was this week. The next week when we did the major pentatonics, I wrote this one called Penta. And Becker, you're still on. Just so you know, I've always done this. I've always written things for my students and usually tried to keep them, like I've said many times, so many of the classical pieces that we know were originally etudes and studies, exercises essentially, and working a certain technique or working a certain scale or something, or even working a certain melodic device. But I would recommend to you to do that too, where you're when you're anyone here that's a teacher, a guitar teacher, create content and then start to accumulate it and grade it. So like if this is on a 1 to 5 level of difficulty, this is a 1, this is a 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can start making your own books. At some point, you can start making your own books. In fact, I had teachers that would make me buy their books. Well, we all had teachers at college that would make us buy their books, right? You remember that? And it wasn't like it was $10, like they just ran off copies. No, they would charge you $75 for their stupid book that you had to buy. And they would have 100 kids in class. They made an extra $7,500 every year just selling their stupid textbook that they created. But you can do that, and you don't have to charge a lot of money for it. But you could say, hey, I've got this. This is it's a great way to take. Because for me, teaching was something I did to pay the bills, and it wasn't my goal in life to be a teacher. If I was going to be a guitar teacher, I wouldn't live in expensive Los Angeles. I was doing totally fine doing that in Indiana, and I could have just kept doing that. My goal wasn't to do that, but even doing that, I was trying to go, I need to make sure that I'm constantly creating content, and I knew that before content was a thing. So anyway, okay, so here's the next one. This is Pentup, and this uses these scales here, and I'm going to go back to the top and play again. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I'll do it again. I messed up again. Okay, now. Oh, I gotta stop this. Boop, stop. Okay, go back to the top for the next one. So the next one we did the blues. Now, one of the things about reading music too, and I kind of have to force myself to do it sometimes. I get a little lazy, but is to look ahead. Like scan a bar, because when you first start reading, you read one note at a time. But you don't even do that when you read you don't do that when you read a book. You don't read one letter at a time in a word. You read words, right? Or you even will read a whole sentence kind of in one glance, especially if it's a short sentence or it's dialogue or something like that. Some people can really scan through a lot of text. Same thing happens, like you can think of these phrases as being words. And so I'm not if you're good, you can be playing here, but reading over here, like 2 bars ahead. And that's really what the best players do. Their eyes are way ahead of where they're actually playing. So you've got this micro short-term memory thing that's working at the same time as your reading chops. And that way you can kind of, it's crazy because at certain levels, and I'm not at like the sight reading Harry Potter, John Williams score string parts level, but there are people that do that. And clearly they're at that point where they're not only memorizing in little snippets so they can look ahead. What they're doing when they're looking ahead is they're looking for problems and working out those problems before they get to them. It's like, it's a whole, and that's kind of what you do when you're reading. And the same thing, you know, I don't know if it's so true with reading a book, but anyway. So here's Inigo Montoya from Rancho Cucamonga, and it's using the major blues scales. Yeah, a writing method. Create a, you know, if you're a teacher, you know, you might as well create something that you can better, and who knows, you might get it published. Let's see if I can do this. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I got that one right. That's you know, I don't mind that one. And that one was like, that one sounded better fast. Let me see if I go like to woo. There I go to 175. I don't know, 175 might be quick, but I'll try it. I don't know if you can hear this. Turn this up a little bit. Okay. Go. 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 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't know. This one, I remember now, this one kind of reminded me too much of like Benny Hill. You know, like, right? Speaking of publishing, how is the novel coming? Oh, my novel? Ooh, it's very slow. Right now, I wrote a script, a story, and I don't know how it's going to end yet, which is kind of typically how I write. It's stream of consciousness, but it doesn't come off as like, it's not best, it's just not stream of consciousness in that sense, but more like, okay, how am I going to, hopefully I won't write myself into a corner. Let's put it that way. But this one is kind of a mystery, CIA messing with humans kind of thing. It's not gross or anything like that, but and I have a screenplay that I got pretty much past the halfway point. I think I got to 50 or 60 pages, which is about halfway for a screenplay. And so now I'm transferring all of that to just a regular novel, to do it that way instead. Not sure why. I've kind of I had a couple movie ideas that I turned into teleplays, because TV scripts have a much better likelihood of getting made. Because especially right now with Disney and everybody, you know, Netflix and the Peacock, and you've got HBO and all of them, they're all looking for content. And they're not looking to me for the content, but yeah, when I get to that point, I could post a PDF at some point. I mean, if I got the first chapter the way I liked it, I'm on chapter 2, but if I got the first chapter, I could upload the first chapter maybe and see if it was interesting. But yeah. Oh, that's cool. Let's see. I'm sorry, Becker. What did you say? I started writing melody song exercises. Yeah, because the melodies on the radio are too complex. Yeah, especially the pop stuff, and you have to. You have no steady line of difficulty from one song to another. Teaching. That's right. Yep. Yes, And that's exactly right. And when I talk classical, I always use the Carcassi method because it did that very well. And we may do that. That may be our next thing is we do the Carcassi method together or something like that. I think it's public domain, so because there's a million different publications of it. In fact, I could make my own publication of it and print it and sell it myself if I wanted to. There are many, and so I'm thinking it's one of those where I could even potentially scan. I guess I would have to take the pages out, but I could scan the book and then upload the pages as we worked on it. Oh, Andy, I'm glad. That's awesome. Well, it's interesting. I have a friend who has Tourette's, and he definitely has tics. He's older. He's not my age, but he's in his 30s, I think, and even exclamations, like vocal exclamations, not like words, but just things. And he works in banking. He's a financial whiz, like a broker guy. He's my broker. But yeah, I'm glad. It's probably just concentrating. You're probably just when I would concentrate when I was taking guitar lessons, I would be leaning over my guitar and then I would drool. And a big bunch of drool would go right here on this part of the guitar, and my teacher would just laugh. I'm like, get so embarrassed as a little kid. You just get when you're paying attention to something, you just get concentrating. Okay, I'm gonna play one more, and then you got to remind me. Make sure the thens and thans are straight, people. Yes. Why is that? Why am I having to? Oh, why did I have to approve that? Oh, look, wow, we got up there, man. I think we said 63. Is that a record, Bruce? What's our record? 64? That's crazy. It's falling like a rock right now. So since I started playing. Okay, so let me play this last one, flipping off the parents. Back to the beginning. Oh, I'm not going to play it at 175, though. I got to put the tempo back because I want you to hear it. Back to normal. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so, oops, I'm got to shut. There we go. Turn it off. So yeah, that was not bad. I think I still like Uncle Jan's Reel the best. But they're all fun. And they go, the Rancho Cucamonga one is a little bit, like I said, a little too Benny Hill maybe. But that's ingrained in the scale. And there are times when you want to go Benny Hill. And Addie, I don't know if you know what that means, but it's like Benny Hill was like this really cheesy British comedy, sketch comedy. I'm trying to think of kind of like SNL maybe, but not quite. It was all filmed, so it was different. But it just kind of has a goofy, like fun vibe, and that's yakety sax. Or on guitar, it's called yakety axe. Oh, Bruce is keeping track. Thanks, Bruce. So 65. Well, we're not going to hit that today because everybody's falling off. So, I mean, I may get lucky. Oh, wait, we're climbing up again. So anyway, I was going to tell you the Bob Taylor story. So, every year I would go to the NAMM show, which the NAMM show is the National Association of Music Merchants. It's a non-public show, although it's not impossible to get tickets for, but it's also the largest, and of course they canceled it this year. And I guarantee you people were getting COVID probably from it last January. I don't know. I mean, because a good 1/4 of the attendees are from China, and they're also have booths there and stuff like that. So there are all these manufacturers from all over the world, but China is very heavily represented, especially in Hall E, which is the big downstairs hall, which is the quietest hall. These halls are giant. So there's a hall A, B, C, and D, which are upstairs or on the main floor, and those are huge. So it would take you just to walk across, probably take you 5 minutes from one hall, and then and so maybe 20 minutes to walk the entire. Well, maybe not that long. I mean, I'm a pretty fast walker. And there's an arena there, like a hockey arena. That's tiny compared to, you could fit like 3 or 4 of the hockey arenas in any of these halls. This is the biggest convention in the U.S. west of the Mississippi, bigger than CES, bigger in Vegas, and they at the NAMM show, all the manufacturers are there, and then there's also at hotels. The hotels there, right adjacent to it, they're all on the same property. There's a Hilton and there's a Sheraton. There's a Sheraton, some other hotels, and they have all conference rooms. And like Yamaha will rent out the hotel, and they'll have conference rooms. And then even some of the manufacturers, smaller ones, will rent hotel rooms, and you go up to the hotel room and you can see the gear up there. But then above the main halls are some big rooms on the like 2 more floors of rooms way above. And that's where like Taylor has a big room with a stage. I saw Taylor Swift there back when she was 15 years old performing. There's Gibson will have a big hall up there. Fender has their big hall up there. And then you'll have people like Steinway, the piano companies, and it's insane. Yeah, you make sure you get a drink for story time. I don't know if anyone's been to the NAMM in Los Angeles, but it's insane. Then they just built 2 new halls that now all the live sound and studio stuff all goes there. So you could spend a day in there and not see everything. But all the like all the DAWs, the digital audio workstations are all there. The mic companies, the speaker company, the studio speaker companies. I mean, it's insane, and I'll get easily my 10,000 steps in. Heck, just walking from my parking space to is probably going to be 5,000 steps. I mean, I'm exhausted before I even get there. And it's 4 days. I usually go Thursday and Friday, and technically Wednesday is like just so all the famous people go on Wednesday. So they're already set up on Wednesday usually, but it's not open at all on Wednesday, except for the exhibitors. And I would always have an artist badge or somebody from there would do it. Beck, are you talking about your daughter? Huh. Interesting. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's somebody that can diagnose it. Trouble sitting still, though. That could be ADHD. Addie, you're a smart kid. You're a smart kid. Addie's like on top of it here. But so anyway, I would take Alex has been going to it since he was 7 years old. In fact, he was playing Bob at the Taylor thing. He was playing a 12-string, a Taylor 12-string, and wailing on that thing at 7 years old. And all these people were filming him. They had their cameras out. This was before camera phones. They were all filming him and stuff because it was pretty cool. But like Taylor 12 strings are so easy, even a 7-year-old can play them. Okay, how old are you, Addie? I thought you were in junior high school or something. I think Addie's a doctor. I think Addie's smarter than many of us. So anyway, I would go to the NAMM show every year, and of course every year I'm going to the Taylor booth because back in '97 I started teaching clinics for Maranatha Music, and they gave the Taylor gave me an 814 CE, which is a very, very nice guitar. But they gave me it because for 3 years I taught clinics. I still have it, and for years it was my main worship leading guitar. It's a great guitar for that. That 814 body size is a little smaller than a dreadnought, and a little bigger than a small body guitar. So it's kind of in the middle. It was their own design. So I asked remember I was talking to you about the baritone guitar, and I was at the NAMM show, and I'm talking to Martin, and they said yes, they're in development on a baritone acoustic, and they want my input. I said great, and so then I was up at Taylor, and I said I was talking to Bob Taylor, and he knows me, and hey Tom, how you doing? I'm good, and I said, so you guys thinking about doing a baritone guitar? And he goes, no, not really, no, we're not, and I said really, because yeah, I just talking to Martin, and I don't know if this was a trade secret or anything, but I said Martin actually they're going to send me, you know, they're going to do one. They want to do one, and I was talking to one of the guys there, and he goes, "Oh, that's cool." And then I go to the NAMM show the next year, and they've got a baritone. They've got not only a 6-string baritone, they have what's an 8-string baritone where he put doubled octave strings on the middle 2 strings, so because he felt like it was too dark, so he wanted it brighter for maybe worship leaders to use. I don't know how many of these things they sold. But they have an 8-string guitar, which is really kind of interesting. It's a very unusual. Okay, Becker, go play with your daughter. That's always good. And one thing, so anyway, so then you know that comes out and said, "Hey, I thought you weren't going to do this." Oh yeah, no, we we made a baritone guitar. Oh, that's cool. So then I said, "Are you guys going to do classical guitars?" And he said, "No." No, because the tuners that we would use for those, they're like our cost would be like $250 just for the tuners, because we really don't want to use cheap classical. You know, we wouldn't want. We've looked into it, but we don't really want it. So I said, oh, okay. The next year they have classical guitars. So then I was like, well, now that you're doing classical guitars, are you going to do slot head 12 fret guitars? Well, no, probably not. No. The next year they had slot. And I was like, okay, where's he getting his ideas from? Is it from me? And then that year I asked him, I said, you guys gonna do ukuleles? Oh no, we don't have, there's no market for ukuleles. And then the next year they were doing ukuleles. And I'm just like, you guys. And so then I started asking for things like, you know, things that I knew they probably, like a Weisenborg. You guys gonna do a lap slide Weisenborg? Oh no, we're not gonna do one of those. And then they didn't, so. I tried. It's just funny because I just kept asking Bob every year. I was, "Are you going to make this?" Oh no, we're not making that. And then the next year it would be there at the booth at the NAMM show, and I'm like, "Now, how long is their R&D on this? Could he just? They were working on this and they were already ready, but they didn't have it ready for NAMM, and they just didn't want to tell me, or was it a thing that they? Because I don't know if Taylor still has those baritones. Let's see if they still sell them. Taylor guitars. And if you're ever in San Diego, of course, now I'm sure they're not doing it. So I don't know when those kind of things are ever going to get back to normal. And I don't think I ever asked them about making an electric, but let's see. Now, I don't know. Browse guitars, okay. Bodywood. No, it was shape, bodywood, price. Now, let's see. I have to choose a different way. New Taylor models. Limited edition Taylor body types. On your fit acoustic. The Grand Auditorium is the shape that's really, it's a great shape. Fits your body really well. Wow, that 914 CE is expensive now. Wonder what the 814 goes for. But let's see. So they have, start here for an easy overview of the acoustic line. Okay. 100 series, 200 series, GT, American Dream series, starting at 1300. You know, not bad. They've got great price points. I think some of their stuff is made in Mexico now, though. 500 series. 400 series, I always kind of like the 400 series. Anytime I pick up a 400, you see them a lot. 600 series. So I have a 800, starting at 3400. The 814 CE is what I have. I also have a 655, which is beautiful. It's beautiful wood. It's my 12 string. The 900 series, Koa series, presentation series, custom specialty. Okay, they have a bass acoustic. I don't know that I would ever use that. I might. The Baby custom guitar program, specialty guitars. Learn more. Let's see. See, there's a slot head. 12 string, 12 fret. See, that's the one I asked about, nylon baritone. So they still have the baritone, that bass. I don't see the ukuleles though. Where's the ukulele? Is that like a separate company? So the baritone, they have two. They have the 6-string and a 12-string. I mean, 6-string and an 8-string. D baritone, blah, blah, blah. But they don't have any link on it. I guess it's a special order. No prices. Nylon. Actually, their nylons aren't bad. But I have to go with more of a legit non-cutaway one. The 12-fret models, too, are also really... I played one at the Guitar Center in Hollywood, and it was beautiful. And 12 frets are typically smaller bodies. Most acoustic guitars, the body joins at the 14th fret. So anyway, I'm going to sign off. Yeah, I know Taylor owes me money, man. I give them all their good ideas. Although all those ideas, those are all like their ancillary guitars that probably sell one a year or something. So I have a friend that, Russ Miller, drummer friend of mine. He invented. Well, he didn't exactly invent that kick drum mic with the speaker basically that Yamaha released. But he was the one that had the idea of putting it inside a little drum, and then you put it in front of your drum. It's really cute. And so what it is it's an NS10 speaker, and the Beatles did this. And Beatles did this to record bass. They would use a speaker and use it as a microphone, which can totally be done. You can't really use a mic as a speaker though, but you can totally use a speaker as a mic. But it can be very dark, but it's punchy. And so people started using them as NS10 mics or NS10 speakers, which are very, very common studio monitor for that Yamaha made, and people were using them as microphones for kick drums. And so what Russ did was he put it inside a little drum and then patented it, and then he owned that patent, or does own that patent, and Yamaha still pays him a royalty, I think, on it. Last I heard, he made some pretty decent money off of it. So, if you invent something like that, you can kind of do that. So, yeah, I'm sure Becker. Well, Becker's probably gone now, but. Oh, interesting. Taylor Orchestra. Interesting. Orchestra. Let me. Do they have a search in here? Can I search orchestra? I don't remember that, but I think I went to the NAMM booth. I mean the Taylor booth at the NAMM show, and the Grand Orchestra, all Coa, wow, in Frankfurt. Oh, that was 2013. Okay, so it's been around for a while. Big and rich, robust Grand Orchestra shape. Wow, so that is bigger than. So that's the 18. So yeah, I have a 55. The 55 is the jumbo. So it's bigger than a jumbo. Wow. Yeah, I don't know that I would use that very much. I feel like the bigger guitars don't record so well. The smaller guitar, my Dreadnought. I mean, I use this one all the time. It's getting a little buzzy. I should have done that last night. I need to order a set of heavy, medium strings to put on it, because that's really what Martin should have on it. And that might kind of bow the neck a little bit. The necks get a little flat. It needs to have a little bit more relief on it. So, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, yeah, Addie, you're 18. Oh, Addie, you're the one that's in Scotland, right? Like dying to get back home to America, back to Tennessee. I think I remember. You guys, there's a quiz on it. I'm getting quizzed. So anyway, yeah, we had a lot of people show up. That's amazing. I will be back Monday, and Monday we're gonna get a new scale, or 3 new scales, probably 3 new scales. We'll probably do the minor pentatonic for all 3 chords. Okay. You're welcome, Holly. So good to see all of you. I appreciate each and every one of you. And hopefully this will be a good year for all of us. Hopefully the COVID thing will die down. The trends are looking good, but hard to go with 7-day moving averages when you may have another spike, a bigger spike coming 2 months later, who knows? But although I just saw that even the first responders don't want to take the vaccine. They're having a hard time giving the thing away. It's just like really weird. It's funny because I think the young people would take it more sooner than a lot of older people, but I think the young people should hold off on it. Because I'm a little concerned about fertility issues. I mean, that would be horrific if all of a sudden you had an entire generation of people that were infertile. I mean, what would that? Well, that'd be the end of the human race, I guess. Maybe that's the design. I don't know. Yeah, that would be crazy. So that's my only concern, really. Other than that, they've tested it pretty thoroughly, but they don't ever test for fertility because that's a 30-year test. You can't really know if somebody's going to be infertile or not. So, especially if you're giving it to them as a child, you won't know that for years. So, but yeah, have a great rest of your day. I've got to do some work. We've got somebody coming over, I think, at 3:00 to visit. So I have to get my work done before then because they're bringing a baby, and babies can be noisy, and I can't. I've got to record some acoustics, so hopefully I'll be done by then. Like I said, it's pretty hard stuff, so I'm like, I got to get this done. And I'm also doing this thing where I'm going direct and recording the mic, so it's kind of a multitasking thing. And the composer wants me to film some of it, not all of it, some of it, which I hate doing because I'm always kind of making mistakes and stuff. But he says, he's not judging me on that kind of stuff. So, oh yeah, the PRS Silver Sky, that's a great guitar. Yeah, in fact, I just did open C tuning on my Paul Reed. I put baritone strings on it. I hope I don't destroy it. I have a PRS. I have a McCarty with soap bars. But I saw somebody here hip me to, was it Joey Landreth? And no relation to Sonny Landreth, but he sounds just like him, which is crazy. But he totally got into Sonny Landreth, and he didn't want to start playing slide because of Sonny Landreth, but that's his favorite slide player. So he started, but he's no relation, even though they have the same last name. But Joey is great. So he was like playing some stuff, and he's like, that's in open C tuning. So I may show you that next week. Right now it's in the amp room. I was kind of jamming with some amps and pedals stuff. So anyway, God bless you guys. I will talk to you soon, and I'll let you know how many new subscribers we got. We're doing good. We're doing good. When I look at the analytics, well, the dashboard, I mean, we blew by 87,000, so we're 87,360. Almost 1,900 new subscribers in the last 28 days. So that's good. Although I did notice on my analytics, it was in the 16,000 range. We're in the 14,000 range now. So it's definitely not, although I think this needs to be refreshed. So it's definitely coming off a peak. Whatever peak happened, it was that 7 tips for older beginners was going crazy again. So I've been getting a lot of questions or a lot of comments on that, which tells me that thing has been just getting promoted again. I don't know. I don't know how long I can expect that. That's got to fall off at some point. But I'm literally getting about 60% of my views and revenue from one video. So I probably need to start creating content again just so that I can maybe have try to get lightning to strike in that bottle a second time. Because that's all that was. That was lightning striking in a bottle. That's why you know who I am. I don't know when I know that I got Sam is asking when do I expect my Greek bouzouki. I bought it through Reverb, and I got an email from the guy saying that because of COVID and the postal system there in Greece, that I probably won't see it. They won't be able to ship it out until January 6th, I think he said, which I said totally fine, no worries. I mean, I'm just adding it to my arsenal. So coming from Greece, it's under the $800 thing, so I don't think it has to get stopped in customs or anything weird like that. I don't have to pay any tariffs or anything. But it should be, I should get it. I would hope I get it before the end of January. There were a couple composers that had mentioned that I might have need for it in this year. One is a movie that I'm working on called Red Notice that's kind of all over the world. So every now and then that composer sends me something to add to it. So that's why I got the Balalaika, was because I got that last year because I thought, and then because then COVID hit and this whole production on this. It's the new Rock movie. I think The Rock is the star of the movie. So I played on the last, like I did Skyscraper, which was one of his movies. I played on the last couple rock movies, I think. So, oh, the PRSs, I don't know what those are. Oh, but you guys can talk about that. Go to Discord and talk about it. Anyway, I will, like I said, I'll see you on Monday. We'll do the minor pence, okay? And those should sound pretty good. I think those will sound really fun. When we start hybriding things, it'll be even more fun. We start playing like multiple scales, okay? God bless you, and thank you so much for watching. 52 likes, that's awesome. Unbelievable. You guys are amazing. Let's get this. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, Franco. Sorry, you just missed me. Go back, rewind.